Welcome everybody to the overhaul. What once used to be the throne mindset is now frequency noir. This is going to be a new series of, you could call them transmissions, but they're actually energy readings without the tarot cards. So a couple years ago, about 5 years ago, I used to do a lot of tarot card readings, and now I'm the type to read tarot cards and oracle cards with my body intelligence. So the other day I had the idea to start making energetic calibrations or energy readings, tapping into the collective field, or just kind of breathing into the field that is around me and delivering, you could call it messages, but this is produced and displayed in an extremely grounded way. Something that I learned from reading tarot cards for so long and oracle cards is that there's a flavor of being ungrounded and displacing your power and what you know to a deck of cards rather than tuning into your body and getting the answers from your body. You know, there's a flavor of giving your power away to a deck of cards or something of that fashion. A lot of the tarot cards that you see on the market and oracle cards, they are based in New Age spirituality. Now, these readings will be based in body consciousness, the innate intelligence of your body, and there is that. In the future, I told myself that when the time is right, when I feel the frequency around me, I will make my own deck of cards, but they're going to be based from the body. I want all of you guys, even tuning into this first energetic calibration, I want you guys to start at the foundation first, which is your body. Your body has all of the answers to everything that you're asking or wondering or thinking about. These transmissions that you tune into will be about delivering messages that I pick up in the field. It's the same thing that I do when I'm doing a one-to-one client session. I am tuning into their field and bringing forward all the energetic pieces, limiting belief systems that I pick up from, my own intuitive nature. I want you to realize that your embodiment is the sum of your belief systems. So even as you're watching this, you are tuning into all of my belief systems on a subconscious and unconscious level. It's trippy. I wouldn't call our embodiment your aura, but those can be used interchangeable. Your embodiment is the sum of your belief systems. It doesn't matter what you believe. Your embodiment and the way you embody yourself, the way you transmit your essence, your frequency, is the sum of your belief systems. How you think about relationships, how you think about money, all of it plays a role in the way you emanate your essence. Throne mindset just got changed to frequency noir, and you'll kind of feel the frequency shift in it, because as you know, I am a frequency field holder, and that field that I hold is a field of truth. So even as you are, connecting into my field and watching these transmissions, you may start to feel limiting belief patterns starting to unravel because of the energetics that you are interacting with via whether it is a video or just having contact with my field. You know, I am transmitting energy through the screen. So that's one really big thing that needs to be noted, that, you know, I will still be creating really good subliminals for you guys, but I want there to be more of an energetic shift towards the focus of finding your foundation, finding who you really are underneath all of the limiting beliefs that you may have circulating. I want to refine everybody's frequency so that they can show up and embody the truest form of who they are. So these calibrations are extremely grounded. I'm not using cards, I'm using my body consciousness and what I feel from the field, whether that is tapping into the field of those who are subscribed to this channel or the overall collective. It really depends. I believe that the right messages will reach you at any time because we're both co-creating certain realities together, and this is just a form to get across certain messages, right? So I want everybody to take a deep breath. And I'm sure it will come up as to the reason why I'm sitting in the sun like I am. I normally do not record with this type of lighting, but I felt extremely called to position myself in front of the sun in this manner. So just breathe deep into your body. We're gonna go ahead and start opening up the field and kind of connecting in and seeing where everybody's energy is right now. Before I have my notepad for a little bit of notes that was coming up for me. Before I had sat down to record, I was getting purity culture. And I was like, that's really interesting. I am not necessarily embedded in purity culture, but when I was getting ready for the video, I felt like I wanted to wear white. So, you know, you can look at the symbolic references of that, but let's kind of dive in. I have on my notes purity culture underlined and the word clean. So that shows me that a lot of you guys are operating from this base frequency, like a background frequency, that you feel like you're broken, you feel kind of dirty. Maybe you went through some, SA experiences and it left you feeling dirty. A lot of you guys have not released that background frequency of feeling dirty, not clean, damaged, broken, all of that sorts, right? When we talk about purity culture is a culture where you have to act a certain way in order to maintain a certain image. Now, that image is an image of innocence, purity, and overall being clean. You see purity culture glamorized and amplified in dogmatic religious mindsets and man-made constructs of God. All right? I'm going to, put it as your responsibility to unravel what purity culture means to you. I am not here to make your healing process or your identity shift process hard. I am here to illuminate patterns that have been running your life in the background. All my frequency does, when you enter the frequency field of me, frequency Noir, opulent female body, what's happening is the field is illuminating belief patterns that have been running your life. Now, this necessarily could be, good or bad. All of us are running on programs, and it's up to us to slow down and see what is actually running our life. We have the full power, free will, to express and create our reality how we wish. It is about learning what is running your reality, what is creating your reality, and how you are embodied in this world. This is just a mindset that I live my life by, but I like to live my life by how does life want to live through me? And I live my life by following my desires. I necessarily do not look at the external for certain particular things to like emulate. This is also something that's coming up here. This is going to be a spiral conversation. When I said emulation, that got highlighted. I want to talk about emulation because the root of emulating business ideas or another person's embodiment is because you do not feel like you are in your identity, like enough to feel worthy of like standing on your own. There's layers of not feeling enough here. I want you to breathe deep into your body and just ask yourself, why do you emulate? Why do you feel sometimes like the word is actually copying another person's embodiment? You want to find the root level. So as you're breathing into that, why do I have repeating patterns of emulation? A lot of the times that lower base frequency, right, is coming from not feeling enough. And also there's a tad bit of not feeling loved, and that if you actually were yourself, you wouldn't be loved, you would be potentially punished. So I want to bring all that up to the table. To go back on the thread that I was on, to allow life to live through you, right? It's about refining and expressing your most authentic truth, however that shows up, being in a feminine vessel and experiencing my life through every single menstrual cycle and luteal. I have access to my body consciousness in certain ways that are very based in being psychic. It's really just being in touch with my body and extremely intuitive, right? This transmission is kind of leading me to spiral around to what I chose to wear. Just to put it out there, I normally always wear dresses that show more skin on my body than a whatever you call this. It's not a crew neck, but I guess it's just a yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. So anyways, I had felt called to put this shirt on, and it's not necessarily a shirt that I would record in. So when I put this shirt on, it overall makes me feel a little uptight because I feel like my throat can't really breathe. What's kind of coming up in the field is feeling like you constantly have kind of like chains around your neck. You're not expressing how you really want to express yourself. There's a frequency here of like feeling suppressed, but it's self-suppression. Like there's nothing external that's actually suppressing you. It's belief systems that are actually suppressing your expression, if that makes sense. And if we dive into the color white, just in the terms of white being turned into every color spectrum. White has every single color spectrum that is displayed in the rainbow. So I think let me just kind of tune in and see the symbolicness of white for today. Like, where in the field did you guys need the message of white? So what I got was white is the absence of darkness. So a lot of you guys are avoiding certain parts of yourself. You could call it your shadow parts. I necessarily do not call it the shadow. I just call it depth. I do not like the trend of what shadow work has become. To me, it's just depth work. It's just you learning how to be integrated into the wholeness of who you are. Whether you want to judge some parts of yourself being light or dark, whatever it is, I don't get into all that jargon. When my body brings me something to integrate, I integrate it. I don't really judge it. I know inherently that my frequency is darker. It has this pulse of like undulation. This, to me, it feels like a mix between a volcano and an earthquake, but it's this constant vibrating frequency, this like pulse that unravels everybody else's patterns. And now some people may not stand my frequency because I will absolutely illuminate things that you may particularly do not want to look at. You know, you could call that shadow work. To me, it's depth. You are going into the deepest parts of yourself. You're needing depth. And actually, what happens when we begin to integrate all these parts of ourselves, your field, your embodiment actually becomes more like depth field. It becomes this field that you can like feel. Some of the most embodied women that I know, I can feel them when they enter the room. And a lot of that is because they've done the integration work. They've done the depth work. They've looked at themselves in the mirror and faced everything. They dropped the idea of judging certain things and being all up in the mind and judging, you know, what is kind of coming up and what needs to be integrated. Let's talk about this sunlight. It's starting to go down. When I tune into these particular facets, like what I'm feeling right now is that there are certain layers to the field right now. For some of you guys that are just joining and learning about frequency noir, you know, listening to the subliminals, and, you know, frequency noir will become an ecosystem. It is a frequency field. That's the reason why the podcast for frequency noir is the frequency field. But I'm seeing these like layers where people are kind of being introduced to the field, being introduced to learning how to observe their patterns so that it can unravel, you know, fully. And there's these many different layers that people are introducing themselves into, and a lot of that has to do with seeing your, I would say, brilliance. Like, what is this? This is like, there's many different layers where people are traveling through, and it feels as if the more they keep walking one step in front of the other, chop wood, carry water, it's like the closer they get to the sun, in a way, as far as their brilliance getting brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. But there's also this essence of feeling like your light or your gifts are too much, too bright, and you're refusing to be in the limelight. If, you know, I want you guys to really only take what resonates. Not every single thing that I say is going to hit you and land like a big fat thud. Everybody is kind of unraveling certain things. This is just the thing that I'm like really picking up on. And the cool thing about this whole series, I haven't figured out what I'm gonna call it. I think I'm just gonna upload it and it'll be that. But it's just like my experiences with some of my clients. They don't see a certain thing a certain way until I say it, repeat it about 5 times. It lands, and then that pattern has been like broken open and it's fully unraveling. I get through a lot of stuff. Well, you can get through a lot of limiting beliefs by having a perspective shift. So I just want you guys to keep that all in mind. Let me tune in. Yeah. All right. Transmitting my field is also very new to me. As I learn to run more energy through my system, I believe some of these transmissions or these energetic calibrations will get longer. But since this is my first one, I'll let it be short and sweet. Thank you so much for watching. And, if anything hit, a home run for you, let me know in the comments. I always love to see what belief systems and mindsets you're shifting, because like I said, your embodiment is the sum of your belief systems. It's you're also running an entire ecosystem in your field. I think everybody carries a distinct sovereign frequency, and it just depends how it is expressed. Yeah, I'll see you guys again. Thank you so much.